When the head finds its perfect body, how Contentstack makes the lives easier of developers and marketers. Well, I have used Contentstack a whole bunch. I've used Vue Storefront a whole bunch. You know what? Marry the two into a lovely connection and you have awesome. So sit back and relax and prepare yourself for the coolness of Wim and Nick from Contentstack.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Contentstack session here at the Vue Storefront Summit. In a lot of the previous sessions you probably heard about how great of a head Vue Storefront is for headless scenarios, but obviously a great head needs a perfect body. And we're here to help you understand how Contentstack actually, in our humble opinion, obviously, is the perfect body for Vue Storefront. So together with my colleague Nick Barron, and I'm Wim, the head of sales for EMEA, we'll take you in this session over a couple of subjects. So obviously I'm going to talk about why we feel that Vue Storefront and Contentstack are a great combination, and then Nick will take you through a demo, and then in the end we'll have some time for your questions and hopefully be able to answer them as well. So why is it you as a developer need to care about the editorial experience? We speak to prospective and existing customers of Contentstack every day, and to be completely honest, headless CMS doesn't necessarily have the best name when you're talking to editors. They seem to feel that they're being left out of the equation, that it is a very, very technical approach, but as a business user, it doesn't bring you a lot of advantages. They're used to having specific functionality and features and capabilities in, let's say, the more traditional platforms, but a lot of the headless CMSs, actually all of them besides Contentstack, are very, very much focused on the technical approach and not so much on the editorial experience. And when we then hear of our customers that are using Contentstack and what they really like about it, one of the things that we hear is that it takes almost zero onboarding or training time. Within half an hour, you can have somebody up and running on the Contentstack platform. And obviously, that is a very important testament to our ease of use. And this comes from one of our customers, who is a very large, well-known European toy manufacturer who has been using Contentstack very, very intensely across all of their digital touchpoints. And it's not just us saying this, it's not just our customers testifying to it, but it's also the large analyst firms like, for example, Forrester, who in their recent wave said for Agile CMSs, if you're looking at this new technology, microservices, API first, cloud native and headless, make sure that you're looking for a vendor that is truly headless first, has all the right APIs, but make sure that you don't leave your business users or practitioners out of the equation, and make sure that they get the tool that they deserve and need. So how do we build this best of both worlds scenario for Vue Storefront and Contentstack and have, let's say, marketer flexibility and developer agility in one platform? From our perspective, and what our customers are telling us, it needs to be an exceptional editorial experience. Not average, not good, it needs to be exceptional. And we are the only headless CMS in the market that actually started from the editorial experience and build our solution from there. And it means that editors will get a lot of the features and capabilities and ease of use that they need. So, when you come from a traditional monolithic content management platform that we probably all have worked with and loved or hate, You want to have flexibility if you're an editor. You want to be able to move things around on a page. You don't want to go back to your developer team each and every time that you want to have something changed. You want to be able to be creative and create great customer experiences. But you also want to be able to collaborate with your colleagues. So you should have, let's say, things like inline comments, being able to tag somebody on a specific piece of content. And obviously, if you're an enterprise-grade company, you want to have things like workflows and governance and easy to build up solutions. And then also in the once you've created that content, you also want to see how it looks. So you want to have things like instant preview and being able to push it to how many environments as you will like. And then the next thing is obviously you have this stack of solutions in your ecosystem. So it can be your commerce solutions, it can be search, it can be personalization, it can be CRM applications, and you want to bring all of that together into this extensible platform to make sure that it suits the needs of your company. And then the other part, of course, as a given, is you need this agile CMS with all these microservices and APIs to be able to build a scalable, very, very high performance solution that's able to deliver billions of monthly API calls across the globe. And we are actually, from a technology perspective, we are the only headless CMS that has separate microservices for REST and GraphQL. And all the APIs here are listed, the ones you will expect, content delivery API, but not just content delivery API, but also content management APIs. Integration with third-party providers will be a lot easier through our software developer kits. But enough on the slides. Let's dig into the demo. Nick will take you through it. If at the end you're saying, okay, I want to give this a test drive, I want to see how Contentstack and Vue Storefront and other technologies can work together, just ping Nick or myself and we'll be very, very happy to set you up with a free trial. So you'll learn how easy it is. Over to you, Nick.
Hi, folks. My name's Nick Barron. I'm the Director of Partner Enablement over here at Contentstack. And what I want to do is give you all a really quick demonstration of how Contentstack and Vue Storefront can connect to each other to create an amazing experience, not only from the developer perspective, right? And that's why we all love Vue Storefront, but also from the content editor and content management perspective, as well as the marketer perspective, right? So being able to bridge both of those worlds into one seamless, easy to use experience. So what we're looking at here is just a very overly simplified architecture diagram of how these different platforms are going to connect to each other. So we can see that we've got Contentstack down here. It's going to allow its entries to be pulled from to Vue Storefront, rather, and we're going to connect Commerce Tools products to Contentstack content by doing a bit of an ID stitch, so that in Contentstack I can request different products from the platform and then store those into my content and my page designs as well. So all of this is sort of going to flow through Vue Storefront. It's going to use its API connectivity to Contentstack to get the right content and the right product information at the same time. And in that same way, we continue to add more and more and more, mock or headless platforms to that as well, right? So, whether it's for search or personalization or document management, all those other things, we can just continually add on to this concept to create a true best of breed approach for any project that we need. So let's jump over here into Contentstack, and I'll show you guys real quick how we perform some of the basic, things that we need to do to manage some store content. So let's go ahead and load up what we call a stack. So this is a project. You can have as many of these as you want in the system. And we're going to see here that the first thing I get presented with is my dashboard. So I'll be able to see things like my recently modified entries and assets. And we can even pull in third-party information and display that here. So these are customizable components, right? And you can write your own integrations to, pull data. Maybe we want to see how well our top-selling products are doing right in the dashboard of the CMS. That way, as a content editor or a content marketer, I don't necessarily need to go into the e-commerce engine and go look at those reports. We can surface some of that here where I'm going to live in my day-to-day. So let's go ahead and jump over to our content repository. This is sort of the main part of Contentstack, go figure. And we're going to see that we've got different types of content in here. We've got things like a global field. So this is going to be, options that we're going to be able to reuse across the board. So, good example would be something like a collection of SEO fields, right? So instead of having to add all 12 of these onto every content type and page type that we're going to have, we're going to go ahead and add that in one place. And then if we wanted to, we could say, okay, well, now I want to take that SEO field and I want to add that to my configuration for a page. So my page content type just has title, URL, a text field, and then this modular block area. And we're going to go into this in a bit more detail shortly, but I could just add a global field, choose SEO, and then this is going to, let's type that in. This is going to just allow me to have that SEO field on every page content type that we have. So we can go ahead and save and close that. So it's really easy for us to create these content models or these content structures, and they can inherit from each other. They can be combined within each other as well. Well, let's go ahead and look at a really simple type of content. In this case, it's what we call a product. And you can call it whatever you want. But in this case, we're going to see that we can come in here to this yellow scarf. Let's go ahead and change that as CARF. And we can see that there's, some generic fields like a title and a URL that's going to be required for everything. We can see here that, we've got a rich area text field. We've got the ability to come in here and choose from our asset repository which image we want associated with this. And then we've got the ability to also do things like tie this to products in another platform. So when we click add products, this is what we call an experience extension. So this is our commerce tools extension. And this is just going to load up a view into our commerce platform that we're connected to. And if I search for scarf, for instance, this is going to pull back all the products. And we just went from about 2,500, I think it was, products down to 67. So simply by searching down, I can come in and say, hey, I want to add, this product as well to it. So now we're related to both of these products on this product page. So what we're not trying to do is replicate the data and the information that wraps around these products in something like Commerce Tools. We're simply just saying, now we can have marketing copy, we can have different images, we can use both of these platforms for what they're best at. And this is going to generate us a product page with information coming from Commerce Tools for things like price, inventory, and maybe it's variants and sales and all that kind of stuff. And we're going to be able to combine that with things like the categorical hierarchy we've associated it with in Contentstack, any related pages that we want to select, and then here's that SEO field that we have to be able to come in and say, maybe we want this to show up in our site search, and let's say scarf is a great keyword to have on our scarf here. So we can go ahead and then we can simply publish this content. And we're going to have the option of which environment we want this to go to. So environments are very important because that's going to help us choose where this content's going to appear. Now, we've got rules in place, for instance, where I can't publish anything to my production environment until it's gone through a workflow process. So in this case, we're just going to publish that out to our development, or we could also do things like we could add this to a release. So if I wanted to add this to a release, we can see there aren't any in here at the moment. So let's go ahead and create a release for a Black Friday sale. And then this is going to add that scarf. Let's call it Black Friday Sale 2021. And that's going to add that scarf to that release. So now when we want, we can launch all of the content objects and all of the items that we've put into that one release. So it gives us the ability to batch launch a bunch of things. And right now, I haven't even specified when I want that to go live. So I simply add this content. And as you saw there, it asked if I wanted to have the associated images and related content that wasn't published added as well. So that way, all of that's going to get published when we go live. So we can see here that in my 2021 Black Friday sale that we just created, we've got the image, we've got the category it was related to, and to the scarf content object itself. And this is where I can come in and say, I'm going to have this go live, let's say, in June 14th. And let's have that go live at 2:15 in the morning. And let's go with Honolulu time. So now all of those changes will go live in the future. So we can easily come in and set those things up. So that's a very rigid kind of content, right? So let's go ahead and look at something a little bit more engaging and a little bit more marketer friendly, right? So we come in and we look at our page's content type, and within here, this is what we just added that field to, that global field at the bottom for all those search engine optimization fields. So we can come in and do that later. But more importantly, what we have is a very kind of simplified view of a page. We've got our title again, our URL, but then we just have an area that in this case, we've called it content, where a marketer or an editor can come in and add these different components. Now, these different components that we call these modular blocks, but they're going to relate directly in a one-to-one relationship with our components that we have in Vue Storefront. So for instance, when we look at this page, we see heading, group, hero, call to action. When we come to this actual page, and looks like we need to kickstart our development environment. So you can tell that this is actually running locally and this is running live. So let's go ahead and turn on our actual development environment. So that's always going to help when we want to show that front end. So we can see here that this is actually our Vue Storefront application that's running locally. We can see that is now fired up on a local address. So let's go ahead and open that guy up. And let's wait a hot second while that reloads. So while that's reloading, we've got all of these different components, right? And let's say that we wanted to add to this list. Maybe I want to have something like another call to action, maybe. So if we want to build out something like a call to action, we simply click the add call to action feature. And then this is going to give us all the fields that are required, right? So for a title, this is some awesome content and description. This is even better. You can tell that I do not work on the marketing or content curation team here at Contentstack. I'm much more of a developer, so apologies for the terrible content. Button text, click me. And where do we want it to go? Let's send you off to Google. So we can go through and do things like choose images that are going to be appropriate for something like this call to action. So let's just grab a banner. We can do things like overload the background color as well, right? So we can choose what that color is going to be. Now, Vue Storefront, our implementation is already going to have that set for us. So that just gives us the ability to sort of change those things. So here we go. Now my development environment's actually up and running. So we can tell, this is actually running live on my machine here. And we can see we've got that heading. We've got this group section. We've got another little bit of content. Then we've got our hero slider and then our subscribe now down at the bottom. So we've just added, while we were waiting for that to load, another call to action down at the bottom. Let's go ahead and move our awesome, super cool marketing content up to the top. And let's go ahead and move those heroes, because those look pretty cool as well, just under that. And now if we publish this, we're going to be able to just see these changes go nice and live for us super quickly. So we can come here, refresh that. Here's our amazing, awesome content. Looks great. I should definitely apply for any openings we have in marketing. But more importantly, I'm able to rearrange and I can change the structure of the page. And I've got the ability to just look at these things live on a development environment now. In the real world, this would probably be done on a staging environment so that content authors can come in and do this. And one other thing that we've sort of skipped over is the fact that there is workflow applied to this. Now, because we only have 15 minutes, I jumped in and logged in as a super admin. So I actually get to ignore all the workflow stages. There's only one super admin ever created in an instance, and really the accounts shouldn't be used, but just to make sure that we get to everything as we need to, I logged in as that person. So typically what we would see is if we came in and we saw this as draft, we're only going to have the option to go to ready for review. When we're in ready for review, for instance, maybe we have a step called send a translation vendor that's going to tie in with our webhooks and our APIs to take all this content, send it off to one of the many translation vendors we are integrated with, and then it's going to wait. It's actually going to lock the content so that nobody can edit it until that translation vendor sends that data back in via the API. So that whole process is automated, right? And then that content is just going to appear as translation ready for review, which then we can go to legal review and we can go live. Or depending on who we are, we might just skip some of that, or we might have a different branch in the workflow. So there's a lot of cool enterprise features here, but we're just going to go ahead and we're going to select this live, or we could assign it to people as well, which is neat. We can add inline comments to any of these fields. There's a lot of cool features and capabilities that we're just not going to get the chance to show in this short time format, but we're going to skip ahead and we're going to send this live. And again, we can choose where that's going to go. So let's actually do one more change actually while we're here, because this is we're talking about e-commerce a lot. So let's go ahead and add some products to this. And I want these to be a little bit more featured up underneath my hero banner, so I can come in. And again, this is going to give me that same interface. And again, this looks like we're just using the same platform, but all of this data is coming in live from somewhere else. So in the interest of continuing on with my desire to show everyone all the scarves that I can, let's go ahead and I think 4 might look good. Let's pick 4 scarves. We're going to see those are now added to one of my components that we have here within the platform. Let's publish that out to dev, and let's see what that looks like. So as we scroll down, we can see that we've now got these. We've got our little add to cart buttons. We could, like them. We could go to those individual components or those individual product pages and look at a little bit more detail. But what we're now looking at, right? We now have a page that a marketer can create, that a non-technical user can add all this cool features and functionality to without having to involve the technology team. And what that means is the technology team instead gets to spend time building out these cool components, right? So if we look at something like, let's say that banner that we created, we can see that this in Vue Storefront is marrying all of these different properties that we have specified within Contentstack. So these are the field names in Contentstack. And then we relate those directly. The field property values get set to whatever the property values of the pre-built components are. So we're not reinventing the wheel or doing anything like that. We're using this awesome, cool set of core functionality that we already have, and we're now just marrying and tying together the content elements in a dynamic content management system like Contentstack to be able to pull that information down. And of course, these are all objectified as well, right? So I can just get the URL of the image. The whole sort of value of that JSON package is going to come down that we're going to be able to see. And we can see that JSON kind of package when we look at the developer tools view. We can look at the JSON view, and we can see that if we look, we've got all these different components. So here's one of those call to actions with its title, description, image, and we can go in and we can look at things like the image URL, etc. So this is one of those neat things that means that the content coming out of the platform is ready for an omni-channel experience. So it doesn't matter if it's going to a website or if it's going to a mobile app or a smart speaker, right? We can interrogate and interact with that content in a variety of ways across a variety of channels. And we can get a little bit more creative with these components as well. So if we look at something like this product slider, we're just mapping in an array of those different product IDs that we saw coming from Commerce Tools. And then we're going to call the Commerce Tools APIs from within Vue Storefront to then fill out these different carousel components that we have here as well. So I know we wanted to leave some time for questions as well. So thank you guys very much for paying attention. I hope this was interesting to you all. And yeah, let's go ahead and jump into a little bit of a Q&A session.